So this video, I'm going to be working on resetting the tank. This is a problem tank, and I didn't know it until recently that I trimmed the moss from my shrimp tanks. If you guys saw the previous video, I had a whole bunch of moss in these tanks. I wanted to trim it. I sold most of it. And when I did that, I was able to see my shrimp a lot better. Most of these tanks, I started with 10 shrimp. Some of them have 40, 60, some of them have down there maybe close to 100. And this is only a 10-gallon tank. You would think you'd be able to like just see a whole bunch of shrimp, but that's not the case. A 10-gallon tank is, they're still kind of hard to see. There's like 20 babies in there, just so small. But anyway, when I did that, I realized that I have had random deaths in this tank, and I keep just doing water changes and just treating it as such. But my being lazy with the moss, I always figured there's more shrimp under the moss because it was so huge. And I'll try to post a little picture of what it looked like before. And but now that I have this tank like this, now there are some babies in this tank, and there's a buried mom in there somewhere. So although I didn't want to have to do this, I have to reset the tank. I have to try to get it back to what it used to be. And unfortunately, I'm gonna have to use a different soil. I had 88 gold in all these tanks, but if you guys are shrimp keepers, you guys know 88 gold is just not available anymore. So I'm gonna have to use something different. I'm gonna use June Master Soil, and we'll see how it works out. And if not, I think it'll be fine, no issue whatsoever. But we gotta get them out that soil. First things first, I'm gonna catch the shrimp, empty the tank. I'll probably leave the filter running in a different bucket. And then one other thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna house the shrimp in this nice breeder box with the very fine mesh on the side. Probably in this tank over here, and just leave them there for as long as they need to. It might be a week or two. I'm not sure how long it'll take. I'm not sure how many nutrients Master Soil is gonna leach. And if it doesn't, and if it works just fine, then it'll be awesome. But I have to get this back to what it used to be. Unfortunately though, like I mentioned, I do have some buried females in there, and I have some babies, and I wish I didn't have to do this, but sometimes this is just what you have to do. And obviously this is last resort. I wish I didn't have to do this, but I've had too many shrimp die for no reason whatsoever. So I've done water changes. I've done everything else that I can think of doing. And so even though I have 12 tanks and they're all the same, I feed the same, everything's on the same schedule, there's always gonna be that one problem tank. And for me, it just happens to be that one. It used to be that some of them were not breeding this as much or the same as some other ones, but that's normal. It happens. Now, let's get this back to what it used to be. Then first things first, I'm going to pull the shrimp out and then house them. I'm going to show you guys how I set up that new breeder box. And then I'll drain this out, replace the soil, and hopefully get back everything back in there with new bacteria powder and just get it going really nice. I'll share with you guys the process. I hope you guys learned something from this. And like I said, I'm not afraid to show you guys this because this stuff does happen. There's nothing wrong with it. Shrimp keep dying. Let's fix that. All right, so first thing I did actually was set up the breeder box. This is what it looks like. It's a nice size box, 4x6. It's got a lid on top of it, which is why we added an air stone. This is what's gonna house them for now until the other tank is ready. And I figured when I set these tanks up, I always told myself, I used to have the hanging nets. You guys probably know which ones I'm talking about. And I always told myself I could just put shrimp in the next tank while I reset another tank. I forgot that the babies are too small. They'll go right through the nets, the holding nets, which is why these are gonna come in clutch. They're gonna be great. Sometimes I buy stuff that I don't need at the moment. Like that's the case with the breeder box, the plastic air stones. I didn't need them at the time, but I thought to myself, let me get them ahead of time for when I do need them. So I'm going to be using this. This is what it's going to look like. I'll show you guys when the shrimp are in here, just holding them here. For now, I'm going to go catch the shrimp, and I'll show you guys just how many I have. And I want to make sure to show you guys how many I have, because once the colony bounces back up, I want to show you guys that too. So let's go catch the shrimp. The hardest part to any of this is always going to be to catch the shrimp. I've got 13 adults and about 7 or 8 tiny babies. So they're from a recent clutch, and I've got a buried mom. So this alone, if we can get this back up and going right, we can have 50 shrimp in just a matter of weeks. But first of all, we gotta address that. I'm gonna start by draining the tank. I'll move the filter over, leave it in the bucket running, move the moss, move the lubal. The lubal is going back in the tank as it does release some ammonia, so hopefully we can help the tank cycle a little bit faster. So first things first, I'm gonna drain the tank, and I'll show you guys the next step. This is what the shrimp look like in the breeder box. I added the moss back in here and added the air stone, as you guys can see. I mean, there's no way for them to get out of here, which I really like. I added the moss due to the mom that's buried. She'll soon have the babies, and I want them to just take cover in the moss. Once we get everything back in the original tank, I'll be able to transfer everything. I might just transfer the whole box, to be honest. I don't know. We'll see if it's too much of a hassle to catch, but so far, I think this is a really nice setup for them, temporary setup. So let me drain the tank and show you guys what I'm gonna do with that. Alright guys, so this is 2 days later. There's a slight audio bug on the last clip, so I wasn't able to show you guys that, but this is what master soil looks like. All I did was add the soil back in there. I sprinkled some bacteria powder, and I put the sponge filter back in there. When I added the sponge filter, you guys can see I actually didn't put it back in there. I took the sponges off and I squeezed it really good. Now I'm still showing some ammonia, so master soil did release a little bit of ammonia. So like I said, this is only 2 days later, and look how clear it is compared to this. So it's doing pretty good. We do still have some slight ammonia. We're gonna wait a few more days. Another thing that I want to tell you guys, I did test pH, and it's sitting around 6.5. So it's not great right now, but sometimes some of the active soil out there the pH will sit a little higher because it cycles a little faster that way. Once it's cycled, it'll drop a little bit lower. But I don't think this soil will be really low like ADA. I do think it's going to be around the 6.0, maybe slightly lower, 5.9 to 6.1 range. It's what I'd guess. And I'll keep you guys updated on that. I'm going to keep doing some tests. But so far, so good. The reset process has been very smooth. I did go extra thick on the layer, on the master soil, but that's just because I want there to not be any problems with this tank for a good while, hopefully a good year or so. So I'll keep you guys updated, and I'll show you guys when I get the shrimp back in here. I think next time what I'm going to do, I'm going to check the water parameters and show you guys what the parameters look like right before I get the shrimp in there. And 2 days later, the shrimp are doing great. The mom's still buried. She's there. She's still buried. And I do still have the same babies and stuff. So all is good here. You guys can see I went with that amount of flow. Kind of heavy, but it does have a lid on here. So we want to make sure that we get the proper oxygenation in here. So I'll be back. I'll keep you guys updated. All right guys, so it's been exactly a week, and as you guys can see, I've squeezed out the sponge filters a few times throughout the week. It's cleared up very nicely. There's a bunch of biofilm in the bottom of the tank, on top of the soil. Everything seems to be great. We do still have some ammonia, but honestly, it's been a week. I've got more than enough beneficial bacteria. So I think today's the day that I'm going to work on my last water change. I'm actually getting everything together to do my last 50% water change. I've been doing a few water changes throughout the week, but today I just finished calibrating this pH meter pen, and so we're going to check. We're going to check the difference between, this is ADA Gold, it's probably about 9 months old, and then we'll check master soil. I'm really curious to see what master soil is going to sit at. This is ADA Gold. 5.5, 5.4. .4, 5.3. So I guess it stayed at 5.3 on this meter. Yep, 5.3. So 5.3 on that one. And I haven't tested this one yet, but I expect it to be sub 6. So, Anything under 6, I think, will be pretty good for this master soil. And again, this first time testing master soil. And I want to see if there's, you know, if it would be a viable option, you know, since ADA gold isn't available. I told you guys that before. 5.8. And it stayed there. So 5.8 for master soil, not bad at all, honestly. So I guess you could actually use this until it loses its buffering capacity. Once it's at 6.4, 6.5, then you would reset it. So now I'm curious. I'm going to make sure to write it in my calendar. And I'm curious to see how long it's going to last, you know, buffering. So as long as we get like a year out of it, it didn't release crazy ammonia. 1 parts per million was the most it released, which is not bad at all, considering ADA would release, you know, 6 or 8 parts per million. So that's kind of crazy on ammonia. So you definitely don't have to do crazy water changes. I mean, the reset process has been very smooth. I have done nothing but water change with a few water changes. And the shrimp, like you guys can see there, the shrimp are doing just fine. So I'm gonna work on my last water change. I'll come back later once I catch the shrimp out, and we're gonna get them in there today. All right, so the good news is that none of the shrimp died. I actually went out and bought a few more shrimp. I bought about 15 more. So those are juvies. We're gonna add, you know, not close to 25 of them. The female that had eggs did drop them. So, and the babies that I already had are still alive. So all in all, we're probably getting about 25 to 30 shrimp in this tank. Now, just to recap, master soil, I did test pH 5.8. You guys saw that, which is not terrible. And this is, you know, a reset, all the way reset. I didn't just top the soil off with new soil. That would have been like, you know, a soft reset. I did completely eliminate remove the soil that I had in there, which was 88 gold. I've had this 88 gold in my tanks for about 9 months. Now, obviously, I had problems with the tank. Shrimp kept dying. I mean, I have no other solution after that. And I mean, it's just time to reset. And a big thing to me was also being able to use master soil. I'm testing it out. It was recommended to me by Kelvin Wong. He said, you know, I should probably give this a shot. It seems to be pretty good soil. So that's the reason why I'm using that. I have 2 cold tanks. One of them is using ADA version 2, and the other one master soil as well. A new tank I set up is I'm also using master soil. So I'm kind of testing out new things. You know, now that we don't have ADA gold, you know, we gotta look for alternatives, and so that's kind of like, that was just a good opportunity for me to use that. So now it's time to get the shrimp back in there. And the reason I wanted to put this out is because some of you guys out there that watch my videos, you know, I mean, some of you guys reach out to me. Some of you guys are scared of this process. Guys, don't be scared. Shrimp are a lot harder than you guys might think. And as long as you guys are doing things right, there's only so much you can do, right? If you're doing things right, as you guys saw, I squeezed the sponges out. There's a lot of beneficial bacteria. One thing I did do right now, I added a little bit more Cecum Safe, just to detoxify the little bit of ammonia that's still left in there. But other than that, we're just gonna let them be. We're gonna put them back in there, and you know, just call it a good day, and hopefully a really successful reset. But just to let you guys know, man, don't hesitate. Don't hesitate to reset your tanks when you need to. Obviously, don't overdo the resets. You know, some of these tanks do take like this one will probably take another month or 2 before I even see any buried shrimp in there. Sometimes it's just what it is. It's going to be a little bit of change of pH, you know, regular stuff. You know, they'll adapt to it. And once they stabilize, they'll start breeding again. So let's get the shrimp back in there. If you guys have any questions, get it down in the comments. I reply to every single one of my comments. I love people engaging in my videos, so I reply to every single one of my comments. I make sure that every day I take time to reply to you guys. So I'm gonna get them in there. Let me catch them. I'll probably put them in a smaller cup so I can throw them all in there, show you guys, and I'll give you guys some updates. Probably in 24 hours of them and how they're doing in the tank. And yeah, I hope this helped some of you guys. This is how I'll be doing my resets from now on. Obviously, it's a lot easier, the fact that I can just move my shrimp, hold them here, and, you know, then reset this tank, then move them back, you know, and I can just continue doing that as I need to. So if some of you guys don't have extra tanks, you have the 1 tank, you can do the same thing I just did. You can do that in a bucket. You know, obviously just take some tank water before you reset the tank, put it in a bucket with an air stone, or maybe even your filter, and you're good to go. Let's get the shrimp in there. All right, so what I did was I transferred all the shrimp into a small cup. It's time to get them in there. I'm just gonna let them go out on their own. And yes, I did drip acclimate them before all this. Let me see if I can get some good videos of them. Some of the smaller new juvies I got are right here. They look pretty great. Some of the big females, I think that's the one that had the eggs. And you guys can see just how much biofilm is in this tank. So I probably won't feed this tank for maybe a week or two. And just let them do the thing. This is, I know I've told you guys this before, and it's very fortunate that this is a tank that I had problems with first. But this is my #1 favorite shrimp. Like, hands down. I don't know what it is about these, but let me see if I can get this to adjust. But I really love this type of shrimp. The camera is being weird. So I'm gonna give it 24 hours. I'll come back. I'll give you guys an update. But I mean, that's pretty much what they're gonna be doing right now. I'll be back to give you guys that update. All right, guys. So it's been 72 hours since I added the shrimp. They seem to be doing good. I haven't had any losses, and frankly, I don't expect any. All I've been doing is I add some Seachem Safe here and there just to detoxify the ammonia. But I haven't done any water changes. I'm gonna keep up with the water changes on a weekly basis, just like I would any other tank. But right now, I'm just letting them feed off of the biofilm. There's still plenty of biofilm there. But they're doing good. They're doing good. I hope I'm going to start leaving the lights on a little bit longer. Hopefully we can get some algae growing. I haven't had the lights on long. But I'm really excited. This process was very easy. I hope the video was a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but hopefully it helps some of you guys. Next video, I'm going to show you guys a new tank that I set up with Master Soil. And like I said, we're still testing the soil out. We'll see how it goes. But I do want to thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys soon.